We are open for questions.
Joe, what was it like to get back on the floor for the first time tonight in so long?
I'm sorry, can you say
What was it like to get back on the floor tonight for the first time in so long?
Oh, I just felt very thankful. I'm very glad that God gave me the opportunity to play with my teammates. I really love everyone top to bottom, from coach to everyone on the team, managers, GA. So really happy to just be even more a part of the program.
Joe, what type of nerves you were feeling from the court case a couple days ago to now?
In terms of was I nervous? Was I going to play?
No, just like, it's your first game as a VCU. What were you thinking?
Oh my God, I was so excited. I'm obviously from here, so I was just super excited to finally be able to be a part of the Rams.
Zeb and Kuany described the energy boost that his return has given to everybody else.
I'm not gonna lie, it was crazy, man. Obviously, we play with Joe every day in practice, but just knowing what he brings to the team, and he obviously brought that today. It's amazing to have him, man.
Does being from here, does that play a factor in your excitement to get back out there, Joe?
No, you'd be surprised. Our team, we are really close. We spend a good amount of time with each other. It's really good energy day to day. I'm just so excited to be able to play with the guys I really enjoy being around.
The 10 games, the uncertainty, the having to watch the court back and forth of the last 72 hours, what were they like? And then contrast that to finally getting on the floor this afternoon.
So honestly, I didn't know I was going to play until a couple of days ago. And I was just kind of in a place where my focus was just being a good teammate. And being able to communicate with guys, what I see on the floor, and then every single day, pushing guys in practice. That was my focus. So then when I was told that I had the opportunity to play, the only thing that changed was all right, now I get to do this in a game, which I'm, like I said, I'm very grateful to God to have the opportunity.
How many family and friends did you have here?
Honestly, my family didn't know I was going to play either. So they had some things to do. But now since they know I'll probably be out there more, they'll probably make a little more time for the games.
And Joe, you were a catalyst in two of VCU runs in the first half. What was your thoughts on just giving this team a boost?
I didn't really think about that. I was just play hard, shoot it when you're open.
And he do the same thing in practice. We do the little black versus gold, the starters versus obviously Joe has been able to play, so he'll be on the black team. And yeah, he be doing the same thing. Just all of them buckets hurt.
And how does it feel, obviously piecing 2 wins together, within this last week or so? How does it feel now to kind of get that confidence now? How you guys feeling about that?
I'd say we're responding. Obviously we had some tough games, but we've come back in practice and practice extra hard. We've got energy from everybody from top to bottom, so our response has been great, and just to continue that.
Kuany, how good did it feel for you to maintain the momentum from the last performance into tonight?
It felt great. Obviously there was some weight off my shoulder after last week, and then just playing my game and just trusting the process. The guys trust me, I trust them, so just go out there and just have fun, and everything will take care of itself.
Joe, more than 2 hours before tip-off, you were the only one on the court, just you and a couple managers, and you were getting your shots up. You were smiling the whole time. Is that part of your normal pregame routine, or did you just know today was a special day?
The smiling?
Well, no, just being out there that early. Being out there that early by yourself, the only one just getting shots up.
Yeah, I gotta. It's crazy. I haven't been playing, but I have a routine for game days not playing. So I kind of knew exactly what I was going to do, and it just happened to fall in line at the same time. Except in the past, I would do it in the practice gym, and now it's just here too.
Zeb, it feels like you were in Hasir's grill up all night and kind of really affected them defensively. Was that part of the game plan going in for you to pretty much just be up on and be really aggressive defensively on?
Yeah, just really knowing his habits and everyone else's. But a huge part of me guarding for the majority of the game was just knowing his habits, trying to sit on his dominant hand and just be aggressive on ball screens, honestly. And our big did a good job of the coverage that we wanted to do on him on the ball screen, so it worked out.
Zeb, do you remember midway through the second half, they got it to 10, and there was a scramble in the backcourt, loose ball, you guys came up with it, and then you hit that 3 to kind of settle things down. Do you remember that shot and what it did for you guys to kind of secure that lead?
Yeah, I think when people go on runs like that, a main focus of ours has been like responding to their runs. So I definitely think it helped. But overall, I think our stops, obviously we struggled with that more in the second half, but I think stops has a lot more to do with it, to be honest.
Zeb, you and Max, 19 points apiece, 12 assists, 1 turnover between you. From an offensive standpoint, what does Joe's return do for you guys? Does it free you up a little bit, take some weight off your shoulders to create shots?
Yeah, obviously Joe's a great scorer, so it opens up the floor more. And yeah, I mean, he just makes a huge difference, honestly. Especially with the spacing on the floor. We were just talking about that before we came in here. And yeah, like driving into gaps and stuff like that, it's not as congested all the time, and people can't really turn their heads as much and try and swipe for the ball because obviously he's going to knock it down. So it just helps a lot to spread out the floor.
Joe, do you feel like you're in game shape? Even though you've been practicing, there's a difference.
Yeah, I would say I'm in pretty good game shape. I had like one stretch where I looked at coach and said, "Hey, you gotta go get that." I think by I get another couple games under my belt, it'll be just like normal again.
Anything else for the guys? Joe, you always this happy? I've just seen ever since you walked up to the court, you've had that spot on your face. I don't think it's left.
Yeah, no, like this is consistent. It's hard, like obviously with everything going on, you know, I'm just like this. You know what I mean? I wake up, I'm like, yes.
Is that true, Kuany? Is that true?
I've had moments with my head down, and first person I see is Joe. Like, hey, you get to live another day. And like he's always bringing positivity. So I'm glad he's out there with us.
All right. Thanks. Statement.
Yeah, I think obviously we were extremely excited about Joe being able to play today for the first time. When he first heard the news, he was just over the moon, obviously, and I think he's a unique guy. And anybody that knows Joe, he remained positive throughout an extremely difficult situation, one that we all thought initially, when he decided to come back this way, which was the right, the only move, for him. We felt like it would be a pretty easy, waiver, and it did not turn out that way, which surprised, all of us. But to his credit, he remained positive the entire time. He remained determined, to improve as a basketball player and to become immersed in the VCU community and within our team, and to provide leadership, to this team that certainly is a very young team. And then, he remained consistent. He remained consistent throughout. He was the same Joe every single day. Not only personally, from a personality standpoint, his mood, but also his attention to detail and work ethic, that he brought every single day. And so it's certainly a lesson for all of us that are around him every day and have had the great fortune to be around him every day. You're going to have hard things, put on your plate that you don't really want, right? We all have that in life, and how we respond to those things is everything. And his ability to stay ready, block it out, be there for his teammates, still be a leader in whether it's in the game or in the practices, was really remarkable. And I certainly want to congratulate our staff. That is not me. I'm talking about Ed. I'm talking about Noah. Who have worked so hard, to fight for Joe. certainly not lost on me. And I know that Joe appreciated those efforts. And you know, I think the right thing has happened for him. And I know there's a lot of different opinions about where this thing should land nationally. I'm not going to really get into that, but I do know for a fact with his situation, it landed in the right spot. And this kid deserved to play from the very beginning. And keep in mind, he's missed 10 games, all right, because of the situation that he didn't choose, and not his fault. And we're extremely happy. His teammates are happy. His family. I talked to his mother, 2 days ago. She's ecstatic. She didn't even get to see the game tonight. I don't know if he told you that, but she'll be here, it's at some point, when it's right. But for me, obviously the game, I can talk briefly about that. Our guys, we encouraged them to just attack, consistently throughout the game. And I think the start of the game, all the way through to the end of the first half, I thought our guys were very focused. I thought they were very engaged. I thought defensively, we did a nice job, even though we gave up a couple offensive rebounds that turned into, open threes for them. I was a little bit concerned at halftime with the threes because of how we've been playing them. They got 17 off. And we played a different pick and roll defense than we're used to today, and didn't have a ton of prep on it. But I thought the guys, for half of the game, did a nice job. And in the second half, they know they've been told already, not okay. But you have to give Temple credit, for how they, took what, we were not giving them, but they played the game the right way, and they got shots that they chose to get throughout that second half, whether it was drives to the basket and getting to the rim and being aggressive, or popping, and hitting threes, from their bigs. But we've got to be better, and certainly non-conference helps you figure those things out. We haven't played a ton of teams that have popped bigs like this particular team did tonight. But happy to take any questions.
Ryan, from what you have seen in practice, what can Joe bring to your team on the floor?
Yeah.
And how close do you think he is to being in game shape?
Yeah, he's in game shape now. I mean, he actually came out of the game. I was a little bit surprised. He asked to come out of the game one time, in that first half. Maybe it was early in the second half. I don't really remember, but he did get tired on one occasion and asked to come out. But certainly he can provide a scoring punch. He's an excellent scorer. He's always been a great scorer. That part of the game comes pretty easy to him, and it comes in stretches too. Like he can get on a roll quickly, and that could be really good for our team. He's a really reliable defender, and can really help us on that side of the ball as well. I think overall, just that from a depth perspective, right? He brings leadership. He brings, a veteran, that's been in some tight situations, and understands, what you have to do in those situations to be successful. And so, he brings us consistency, right? Outside of the games, right? Now all of a sudden, he's playing with his guys as opposed to just practicing with the guys. And I knew he would play. I didn't know how the shots would go and all that kind of stuff, but I knew he would play with energy and enthusiasm once he got in there and got his feet wet. Like he's used to playing with those guys that he subbed in with every single day. Now, he's only missed 2 practices the whole time we've been going, since Greece. So every day he's out there with them. And, I think, I thought he did a really nice job tonight, and I thought the other guys did a nice job too, finding him. Even that one where Max had it, he clearly had a wide open shot, but what did he do? He's like, I've shot enough this season. This guy had a shot. Let me get him one. And so anyway, that's what good teams do. They care about one another, and that was good to see, certainly.
Zeb and Max, 19 apiece, 12 assists, 1 turnover. Does Joe's return take a little weight off of their shoulders?
Yeah, I think it does. The depth helps us, right? And certainly once Sean comes back, that's another piece that we've been missing so far this season. And he's Joe's versatile in the guard spots, and Sean's versatile in the guard / forward spots, right? Like he can play 1 through 4, for us. And so it's going to provide us, certainly some challenges because we've got to get the rotations right, and typically you're doing that from the start of the season. You're doing it in practice, right? And then you get it through early conference. We don't have that luxury. Like we've got to figure that out, within the next couple of games and early conference. What the rotations are really going to be, and that could be challenging. But what we've talked about to the guys is it might be less minutes, all right, but it's also going to provide you an opportunity to play harder in those minutes that you play. And that's the focus that we've all got to have going in. We are stronger with all of us together, but it's not going to matter if we're not using it that way. And so we've got to make sure that these guys are, really a connected group and, can pick one another up. The best teams, do that. Like San Diego State last year, if you followed their team, I knew them inside and out. Like they would beat you with individual play, all right, but it was more team because they had a starting group and then they had guys that came off the bench, and if the starters didn't have it, all right, the second group came in and they uplifted that team. If the starters got off to a good start, the opponent's team gets tired, and then all of a sudden they come in and they were really strong. And so we've got to try to create that in our own way. I'm not saying we're San Diego State, obviously we're not. But we've got to try to create that type of team here.
Was it a challenge at all trying to figure out how to deploy Joe in practice before you knew he would play?
No, we just pretended like he was going to play,
Okay.
right? And I think that was the only answer, because if you do it the other way, the only thing that changed for him was how, on game day when he didn't actually have a game, we had to figure out how we were going to work that, right? And he would always have Roos, he would have a workout, and Roos, our strength coach, would do stuff. There was a game plan that he had put together for him. But from a basketball perspective, he did everything that all the other guys did, including, prep and scouting, right? And so, to give him a feel for, all right, here's what we're doing. So when he's sitting on the bench, he knows what's going on. He's not out of it. And so for 10 games, he knew what was going on. So he could walk in a huddle and say, hey, Michael, you didn't do this on that. We need you to do that, or whatever. So I think keeping him engaged in that time was really important until we knew the finality of it, right? Whether we learned, all right, it's a dead issue. He's never coming back. But we never felt that it was a dead issue.
Congratulations on the win, Coach. You had 4 guys in double figures tonight. Let's talk about your offensive production tonight.
Yeah, I thought the guys shared the ball really well, in the first half. I think limiting our turnovers, we're getting a little bit better at that. We still ended up with 12, but, I think our guys when you play faster, you're going to have some, at times. I thought our guys, did a nice job of sharing it, throughout the game. There certainly were some good individual one-on-one plays, but, the guys were looking for one another, and certainly that's the team that we aspire to be. We want to be a team that shares it.
Coach, they were 33% inside the arc first half, 72 second half.
Yeah.
What were they doing? What was the switch that they made, and how were they able to double their production?
Yeah, they got some in transition, right? And so, we had a couple turnovers that turned into baskets. Certainly their guards, were able to get in there. They've got good drivers, right? That's what they do. They're 14th in the country in terms of drawing fouls, which is a pretty, important stat. They're going to find their way in there. The key is, are you going to foul them or are they going to see the rim? They saw the rim too much. And part of that was due to the fact that they were popping their bigs, right? And we were still trying to stay in one of our coverages where we kind of doubled the ball. And they were able to still get some threes off. They did some crafty things, where, one time they had, their big guy with the ball and a guard setting a ball screen for their center, which is not something that you account for all the time, right? You can't spend hours practicing that because you're not going to see it very often. But it is something that our guys do know how to guard. We have a coverage for it. I think we began to switch, later in the half just to try to keep them in front. But they're good at getting in there. I think that's the short answer to it. They were determined to get in there. We've got to be more determined to keep them out of there. And that's keeping a chest in front, all right, and not letting a guy get around. And we let him get around us way too much. And sometimes it was just confusion. You think a screen's coming and it's not, and the guy's going. They just create a little bit of uncertainty. But they're a unique team. Like we haven't really played a team like that. It's popping bigs and firing threes, that quickly. And so it was a good overall experience for us to be able to play in that while still winning.
Anything else you didn't like in that second half that will be a point about this week for you?
I just think we weren't as determined, right, to make it happen. We had a big lead, and sometimes you can relax a little bit, and we didn't have that. We were just content to trade baskets, and we can't be content to trade baskets. We didn't even trade baskets, right? We lost by 10, in the second half. And we did answer a couple of their runs, which was good. We got it back up to 20 again, but the end of the game and throughout that second half, we did not have a defensive mentality where I'm going to stop my man, right, or I'm going to help, but I'm still going to get back to my guy and not allow him to get an easy look off. And to their credit, they had to make the shots too, and I was a little bit concerned. They had taken 17, at the half, and they were getting them up. And there's always a risk when you're allowing them to get them up that they're going to go down. And our original pick and roll coverage doesn't allow as many threes. But we wanted to get the ball out of their leading scorer's hands more than not.
Anything else for Coach? All right, guys.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Coach.